Good evening. Welcome everyone. This is Thursday, September 12th at 7 p.m. This is my Thursday night Facebook Live. I am April Davis. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, owner of April Davis Creations, and I live in Spring Hill, Kansas. Welcome. I'm so glad to see you. Tonight I have a guest. I don't know if you can see in the background. I have a guest. My mother is joining me. I've got her working on a special little project for me, so I told her she could sit in the background and work on the project, since eventually we're going to go to a different view so you guys can watch me work on my Facebook Live to-go class cards. I'm really excited to share them with you tonight, but I wanted to just kind of chit chat with you just for a few minutes and then give you some updates. But this is week number 2. You guys are probably getting tired of hearing about this, and I'm sorry that I keep talking about it, but it's a big transition for me. But this is week number 2 of being retired. And what I'm finding about it is I was so organized and so on top of things in my corporate job, and because I had the corporate job and I only had so much time to work on my April Davis creation business with Stampin' Up, that I was organized with that too. Now I don't have to worry about the corporate job, and I feel like even though I've got all this flexibility and all this freedom, I still know what I need to get done, but I'm just not quite as organized as I've been in the past. So I have meetings that I'm supposed to be attending just with other demonstrators and friends. We have coffee just to stay connected. And the time comes and goes, and it's like, are you going to join us? And I'm like, I forgot, which is so unlike me, But I'm getting there. I think I'm going through a transition phase, and because I'm going through this transition phase, I just haven't gotten my jive on yet, or however you want to call it. So anyway, working on it. I was supposed to send out a reminder today just to remind you guys to join me tonight on my Facebook Live, and I forgot. Now, that being said, I did drive to Independence, Kansas, which is about a 2-hour drive from here this morning, picked my mom and drove 2 hours back with her. She's spending the weekend with us. I'm so excited. But again, flexibility, other things going on, I just forgot. So I hope you're joining me. If you are here and watching, please do say hello. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change my screen so that I can just give you a few little updates. I'm going to bring this up. Let me see. And the first thing that I want to talk to you about is the special that we've got going on with Paper Pumpkin. This is really exciting. Your first Paper Pumpkin. If you've been sitting on the fence thinking, oh gosh, I want to do Paper Pumpkin, but I'm not sure. Am I sure? This is the time to do it. When you subscribe before October the 10th, you will get 40% off your first Paper Pumpkin, 40% off. So that saves you $10. So your first Paper Pumpkin is only $15. After that, it will be $25 a month. And you can decide you want to skip that month. Pay attention to the emails that come out from Paper Pumpkin. They give you like little heads up. I'm sorry, this is going blank on me. They give you little heads up on what's going on. And so if you see that it's something that you're not interested in, all you have to do is go in and skip. Go in and skip that month. And if you skip 2 months in a row, you skip 2 months in a row. But they're fun cards. And one of the things that I'm excited about as I get my schedule reorganized now that I have this extra time is I love Paper Pumpkin. I've been doing Paper Pumpkin for a number of years, and one of my favorite things to do with Paper Pumpkin is alternatives. I love the cards that they have, but I also have a lot of fun with alternatives. So I will start doing videos with alternatives as well. So if this is something that you've been thinking about, this is a great time to give it a shot and try it out. And don't forget to use the Holiday 40 code when you go in and you sign up at paperpumpkin.com. All right, let me switch over. Let me see if this will do that. Okay, now I'm at my to-go class. I'm taking to my website. And when you go to my website, if you go to classes and clubs, and then you go down to to-go classes, this is where you're gonna find the classes that I do every Thursday night. All the information is here. If you like what I'm working on tonight and you want the kit for free, then all you need to do is place an order in my online store by September 16th and use this host code when you place this order and I will send you the to-go kit for free. So basically what you're getting is you're going to get all 3 of the cards times 2. You're going to get enough supplies to create 6 cards. Now, that being said, and I'm going to bring the cards in here in just a second, but we are using the Changing Leaves bundle. The Changing Leaves bundle is not available right now. Now, when I created the cards, it was available, but now it's not available. It was supposed to be back this week. I thought it was going to be back this week when I went in to go check the inventory status. Just this afternoon, they've moved it to the 23rd. So if you really, really like this bundle, just keep checking to see when it comes back, and you'll get it. It's going to come back. The other thing that I would suggest you do is we're talking about leaves. So if you've got in your library other leaves that you could utilize for these cards, and you'll see what I mean when I start working on the cards. But I did want to bring that up with you as well. So my apologies, it's not available right now. It will be coming back. It's just popular. It's just really popular, and you'll see why in just a minute. So 2 things you can do: wait until it comes back, and or you can utilize these kits with a leaf set that you already have. All right, so let me come back to you for just a quick second, and let me get things set up so that I can start showing you the cards. Oh, let's go back here. There we go. All right, my desktop. All right, so let's look at these leaves. We've got this one using the Moody Moth. We have this one using the Pecan Pie, and we have this one using Pebbled Path. So pretty. And I want you to note that I've used different backgrounds to kind of dress these up. So I'll share with you which backgrounds I'm using. This one's got the background along the edges, and then this one has also got an embossed background. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started with this card, and I'm going to share with you what is in the kit for this. So we're using the basic beige as our card base. We've got a Moody Mauve layer. I've already embossed the basic white layer, and I have utilized the Forever Plaid embossing folder. I have been using this a lot. This is a fun embossing folder. So I've utilized that and already got that embossed. And then we're going to be doing some stamping. So I'm going to use this card for stamping. We're also going to be doing some die cutting with this and some die cutting with this. All right. So let's go ahead and let's get our stamping done first, and then we can pull out the die cuts. So I'm going to bring in, we're gonna stamp a leaf, and we're also going to stamp a Here For You. It's just a little bitty tag. I'm gonna bring in our Moody Moth ink, and let's see, because I'm using photopolymer stamps, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat. I bring this in when I'm utilizing the photopolymer for the main reason is that there's no sponge to this. There's no give to this. So if I use this mat, there's a little bit more give, and I'm not just stamping on a hard surface. I feel like I get a better stamp. So let's go ahead and get this stamped up first. So I'm going to go ahead and just make sure I get it inked up the way that I want to get it inked up, and then we're going to stamp it down. So we've got that. Let me give that a quick clean with my Simply Chamois. And then we're gonna stamp this Here For You. Teeny tiny, itsy bitsy little stamp. And I'm gonna bring it over here. Okay, Here For You. All right, let's clean this off. And now let me look, we're gonna start bringing out all of the dies. So I neglected to show you the stamp set and what's so cool about this. So let me just talk about this before we actually start die cutting. So the stamp set that we're using, of course, is the Changing Leaves stamp set. And you've got, your stamps, or for your leaves, you've got 3 main leaves that you've got, and then you've got sentiments, a little note to brighten your day, here for you, thank you, I couldn't have done it without you, and you are amazing in every single way. Then you've got your stamps, and then you also have your dies. Now I've already done some die cutting, and when I have extras, I just keep them in my set, and that way they're able for me to use. So we've got these dies, and I thought, so I'm gonna use this one. This one's gonna be used for the little here for you, okay? But what's really cool is you have this folder, embossing folder, that also has dies in it. So this is a big die. As you can see, the 3 big leaves go here. And basically what you do is you lay your die inside, kind of fits right here, snug. And then you put your paper in, and that's what we're gonna do here. I'm gonna do this first. I did a 6x6 because I want to cut out all 3 leaves. When I'm doing die cutting with this, I just go ahead and cut out all the leaves as you saw in my case, and then I've got them for later. But you can see we're going to cut this leaf, this leaf, this leaf. The other thing you're going to see is that there's other leaves as well. These are the leaves that we utilized to emboss the another card that we've got. So let me go ahead and I'm going to move this off to the side for just a second, because this is a 3D embossing folder, and because it has dies in it, we are going to use the big cut and emboss. So let me bring it up here, and we're going to use the main plate. Let me set this down for just a second. We're going to use the main plate, and then we're going to use the 3D embossing plate. Normally when you're die cutting, obviously you don't do that, but this is a special embossing folder, so I'm going to go ahead and get that used, and I'm going to put this up, and we're going to go ahead and crank this through. Move my stamps out of the way so I don't have a domino effect going on here, but let me go ahead and run this through. It's pretty thick because it's an embossing folder and dies, but we'll pull this out, move this out of the way. We're going to be using it again, and then we'll go ahead and let's move this out of the way. And we can open this up, and you can see the beautiful embossing that it does. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be using this embossing, but it does die cut out the leaves as well. Look how pretty this is. Those are beautiful leaves. They're embossed. Whoops, you can't see them. They're embossed and die cut. Look how pretty. I need to get it so that you guys can see the texture in here. I'll get the right light on it. Can you see that? There we go. Isn't that pretty? All right, so I'm gonna move this out of the way for the moment. This will be coming back in a minute. But now I've got these cut, and then what I'm going to need to cut is I'm going to cut some leaves. So let me go back here to my embossing folder, and I'm going to cut these leaves. Oops. So we'll go ahead and get these on our scrap piece of basic beige. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these out, and I don't think I need anything else there. And then we also, I'm going to have to bring that one piece back in again. Let's go ahead and get our little sentiment cut out. I'm looking for my tape, and I'm not seeing my tape, so I guess I'm going to use a post-it note. You can use post-it notes to kind of help to hold your dies in place as well. So I'm going to get this lined up the way that I want it, and I will use a post-it note. I'm not sure where my tape went, and I'm going to do the same thing for these leaves. I don't want them to move around. I've got just enough scrap to fit both of them on here, so I'm going to go ahead and use my post-it note, whoops, this way, to help hold this down. Whoops. Let's see. How am I going to do this? I need to make sure I get enough paper surface with my post-it note. All right, let's see if we can go this way. And I'm going to bring back, since these are just regular dies, I'm going to bring back my regular sandwich for this. So let me move this stuff out of the way so we've got a bit of room here. Bring my cut and emboss back in, my main plate back in, and now we're going to do our cutting plate. And you can see my cutting plate has had lots and lots of love. But let's go ahead and put this through, and then I'm going to go ahead and try to do them both at the same time. So we'll go ahead and crank this through so we get those all cut out. Okay, so let's look at these. Pull my post-it note off. Pull these out, and I might need to use my take your pick to pop these out. Let's see. these out. And then obviously we're gonna have to pop out, whoops, it's a pretty detailed die. So we have to pop out our leaves, centers. So let's go ahead and do that quick. And then we'll move on to the rest of our die cutting. I'm gonna have to do this one way or another, so I'm just kind of doing it while I'm handling it. All right, so we've got this one. We'll get those popped out and set this to the side. All right, that one's done. And then let's do this one. Oh, yeah, here it is. I'm like, where's my other leaf? All right, here's this one. Pull it out. We're gonna do the same thing. Pop these out. All right. Okay, so we've got that, and then we'll just put this in the bin here in just a second. Now let's look at our sentiment. Our sentiment has been cut. I don't want to lose it, but here's our little sentiment. So we'll put this off to the side. Okay, so now we have this piece that needs to be cut. I'm gonna put these over here so I don't lose them. This is actually a leaf that comes with the big die. So what I need to do is I need to line this up so that I can get this through on my big plate. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna line this up. Let me see how we're doing. It looks like there's a bit of a border around the sides, so that's fine. I just wanna make sure they're even around the edges. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna kind of put this down in a couple of places. My die fits on here. So now we'll go ahead and put our top on and crank this through and get this leaf cut out. All right, and then we should be done with our die cutting. And we can start to put this card together. I love this set. I love fall, but I also like playing with the colors. You'll see that these colors are not necessarily traditional fall colors, but they qualify, I think. I've seen red leaves, and this is Moody Mauve, but there we go. We've got that cut out. All right, so let me get this mess cleaned up and get stuff out of the way so that we can start to assemble our card. So we'll do this. I'm just gonna pull this stuff and put it into the bin. I have a, just dropped my take your pick. I've got a little bin here that I can swish this into. You can't see me doing it, but it's happening. All right, let me scooch down here, pick up my take your pick real quick, and we'll be back at it again. Okay, moving this stuff out of the way, and let's build our card. So we're gonna bring this back in, and we're gonna start by folding our card base. So let me make sure I can get to all my tools. So let's fold this over. I'm just gonna make sure it lines up. Get the edges burnished. And then what we're gonna do is we're going to adhere our embossed piece, and I like this side better. It just pops up more. So I'm gonna adhere this embossed piece to the Moody Mauve layer. So we'll get this done. So this weekend I am participating in a craft fair in Paola, Kansas. I don't know those of you that are local to the Kansas City area. There is a craft fair on the square in Paola this Saturday. It runs from 9 to 2. But if you guys do happen to be in the area, please do stop by and say hello. I love seeing familiar faces as I'm at the fair. I love meeting new people as well, and that's one of the main reasons why I do the fairs. It gives me an opportunity to meet new people. But if you happen to be out and about, there's going to be, I believe they said, well over 100 crafters. That's a lot of crafters. It's the fall season, and You know, craft fairs are part of the fall season tradition, I think. And so if you have a chance, please do stop by and say hello and check out all the other crafters as well. All right, I've decided that I'm going to pop this layer up this time. I didn't pop it up last time, but I just love dimension. And so I'm going to go ahead and pop it up. I think the one thing that I want to share with you when you decide to pop up layers of your card, especially if you're mailing your cards, just take that into consideration, you know, that you're not popping it up too terribly much. I'm not sure, I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure how it affects the postage, but I know that a lot of people have talked about how when you pop it up, it potentially affects postage if you pop it up too much. I'm putting glue on the backs of my dimensionals, not because my dimensionals aren't sticky. They're very, very sticky, but I am notorious for not getting things lined up exactly the way that I want them lined up to start. And so the glue gives me a little bit of flexibility so that I can move things around and make sure that I have things lined up the way that I want them lined up before I decide that's where it's going to sit. And in fact, the glue is moving around a little bit, and I got to be careful when I push on it so that I'm not moving things around. Okay, so we've got that. Now what we're going to do is we are going to start layering our leaves. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the big one. The big one goes right in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on the backs of these leaves. It doesn't take a lot, but it is an embossed piece. So you want to make sure you can get into all the like nooks and crannies of this embossed piece. So I'm just going to kind of go up the sides here. Turn this over, and then I'm gonna layer it maybe right about here, I'm thinking. All right, so that's where we're gonna go. I'm gonna let this set for just a second. If you're watching tonight, please do say hello. I would love to hear from you and know where you're watching from. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're going to pop up this leaf. So here's another pop-up. And so that's what I was talking about earlier, is you just want to be conscious of, you know, what you're popping up. I do a lot of cards in, when I send out packages, when people order my kits and such, I will put cards into their packages. And so it goes out as part of the kit. So I'm not too terribly concerned about popping things up, but if I were putting a lot of things in the mail all the time and it was just the card, I might think a little bit twice about it. All right, I'm just going to lay this down right about here, popping it up, and then I'm going to take these leaves, and I'm not going to glue these leaves down a whole lot. I'm just basically going to give them a little bit of glue right at the very ends. I'm going to give it a little bit of movement, if you will, and I can take this and I can just tuck it right under. And I'm not tucking it under as far as I tucked it the last time, but I'm okay with that. And I'm actually going with my leaf in a different direction as well. So the thing of it is that you can change things up however you want to change things up, but I want to put my sentiment right about here. So the fun thing for me is that I never make a card that looks the same twice. Rarely. I mean, if I'm doing swaps and I'm doing mass production, they probably will end up looking the same or very close to the same. But otherwise, I just kind of take the liberty to set it up however I want to set it up. And this is this is how I'm doing this one this time. And then the other thing I wanted to show you before we finish is we have this ribbon called Natural Jute, and it looks like this, and it's like strands. I don't know if you can see the strands or not. I don't know if you can see through that. If I get the light in the right direction, maybe you can see a little bit of it. Anyway, what I do with it is I've been cutting it apart. So I take my snips, my ribbon snips, because they're sharper, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a bow on this, but I'm going to cut it right down the center because I've been cutting on this one. I don't know, there's probably 6 or 8, and I have 4 left on this one. and I just keep using it and keep using it and keep using it. So it kind of takes the place of my linen thread, but I'm going to go ahead and cut down the center. So now I've got 2 strands on each side, and I'm actually going to take these 2 strands and I am going to make a bow out of them as soon as I get them cut apart. All right, one more snip and we'll be there. There we go. All right, so let me go ahead and make a bow with this. Just add some fun texture. It's got little dots on it. I can pull this down the way that I want it. And I'm gonna put my little bow right here, but I'm gonna trim this up just a little bit. I'm gonna trim it up here. I'm gonna trim it up here because I don't want my ends too long. And then I'm gonna adhere this with a mini glue dot. And what I do is I just take the dot, I grab it with my take your pick and kind of put it into a little ball, and I'll put it right here at the base of this leaf. And then I can take my bow, let me see, which side do I want? I think I want this side. I can take my bow and I'll do it right on top of that dot. And that will hold it in place. And then the last thing I'm going to do, let me see, I know they're here, is I'm gonna take my iridescent foil gems and I'm gonna add a few iridescent foil gems to this. So I'm gonna use the putty side of my take your pick. And let's see, I think I'm gonna do, how am I gonna do it this time? I think I'm gonna do a big one here and a smaller one here. And then I like to do mine in 3s. So I'm gonna do my other one right here. All right, and we'll move this off to the side. And now I've got pieces left over from when I was cutting that I will put back in my stamp set. And I will use them for one of the next cards that I make. But here we go. This is card number 1. And I'm just gonna show you that this card number 1, the first card I did was I had the leaves going down, and this card that I've done, I have the leaves going up. How fun though. I mean, they're both the same type of card. I just mixed and matched them, and this is what we've got. So let's go ahead now and we'll move on to card number 2. So let me bring card number 2 in. This is gonna be card number 2. And probably one of my favorite new colors that Stampin' Up! Has this year is the basic beige. I love the basic beige. So again, I have a basic beige card base. And then I use that same embossing folder and I embossed my base, my layer. Isn't that pretty? So this layer is gonna go down here. Then I have a basic white layer that's gonna go down here. I've already die cut my leaves. You saw me die cut leaves, so I didn't figure you wanted to see me die cut them again. So we've got those leaves die cut. I've also die cut some of the other leaves, only I've done it in Pretty Peacock. And then I have a label that we're gonna stamp on, but we're also gonna stamp on this layer before we start adhering it all together. So let me move this off to the side, and this time we are going to stamp with this stamp in the Pretty Peacock. And then I also have my label, which is a little note to brighten your day that I'm gonna stamp. So let's go ahead and get that one stamped first. Let me move this stuff out of the way. And I'm gonna bring in my Pretty Peacock ink. So we'll go ahead and we'll get this label stamped. I'm gonna bring in my pad. And we'll get this inked up, tap, tap, tap. And let me see, do I have a piece of scrap paper? I'm gonna use this as my scrap paper. I just wanna stamp off on this for just a second because it looked like I had a lot of extra ink on my day, and I just wanted to make sure I wasn't gonna ruin my label because of it. And I'm not, so I'm gonna pull this in just a little bit further so that I can see. I wanna get it lined up, and I apologize if you're seeing my head. I just wanna try to get it as straight as I possibly can. All right, there we go. Nice, I did good on that. Okay, let's go ahead and clean this stamp off, and then I'll show you what we're gonna do. I'm gonna actually need a little bit more scrap paper. Let me see if I can do it with this piece that I was working with. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this piece and we're gonna put it down. It's got a little bit of a crease in it. Let me see, sometimes I can take my bone folder. It just got bent up a little bit when it went into the envelope. All right, so we've got that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna basically ink up this side of the paper. So we're gonna go ahead and take our stamp, get it inked up, and I'm just looking through, and then I'm just gonna kind of rotate it so that I'm getting my leaves on the edge of this paper. So we're gonna go here. Okay, we've got a little bit here, and then I'm gonna ink it up again. And then I think I'm gonna do maybe some here. So I'm gonna stamp over that. Okay, and then we'll do another one, and this time I'm gonna have it coming from the top. So we're gonna kind of shake it up a little bit, and I'm gonna bring in, maybe I'm gonna bring them in to go this way. No rhyme or reason, we just want leaves, okay? So now we've got our leaves on the edge of our basic white cardstock. Let me clean this off and we will start to build this card. I'm gonna close up the ink so I don't get my fingers in it. And the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to start building this card base with the layers. And let me pull these off. We're gonna go ahead and fold this in half like we normally do. Get this burnished. And then we're gonna take this layer. I love tone on tone. So pretty, so pretty. But I'm gonna pop it up. I love to pop things up. So let's go ahead and get our dimensions on. And I mean, you could do a dimension in each corner and one in the middle. However, for me, that just doesn't feel like enough stability for me. So I like to go down the edges. So I've got one, 3 down one side, 3 down the other. And then I do one in the middle here, and I do one in the middle here. And I feel like it's a fair, compromise. I'm not going crazy, but at least I feel better about the stability of my card as I'm doing this. So, all right, so that one didn't come off. That one did. Mom's busy in the background working away. I'm glad she's here. I love it when she can help me with my projects. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna do the same thing again just because I wanna make sure that I've got a little bit of wiggle room. You don't have to do this. If you're one of those that you can just put your tape on, that's why I don't use tape runners. I don't know if you've ever noticed. I very rarely ever use tape runners. And the reason why I don't use tape runners is because I need flexibility to be able to move things because I just can't seem to get things centered up straight the first time. See, this one's off already. I need to come in a little bit more. And if I use a tape runner or even with my dimensionals, I have a heck of a time getting things lined up the way that I want them lined up. So with glue, I have a bit of wiggle room so that I can adjust things just a little bit. Okay, so now we've got this. Now what we'll do is we'll take this piece and we're gonna adhere it to the top. Actually, let me see. Yeah, we're gonna do that. I was just looking to see where my leaves were gonna go, and I think I'm thinking about my next card. Yeah, I was thinking about my next card. All right, so let's go ahead and get this piece down. And of course, I've got my glue, so I can go ahead and get this centered up the way that I wanna get it centered up. Come down a little bit here. I always pick it up. I have to be able to look top to bottom, side to side, make sure I'm happy with where it's at. And then once I get it where I need it to be, then I can commit. All right, so let's start adding our leaves. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add this leaf on first. I love the embossing of this. Stampin' Up! Comes out with the leaves pretty much every year. And I've never once been disappointed in their leaves. I love them all. I love fall. Fall is my favorite season. and I just have so much fun playing with them. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to turn this way so I can kind of get this down, like maybe right here, maybe. Okay, and then I'm going to take these, and I think I'm going to layer one right here, and I think I'm going to layer the other one maybe right here, and then we're going to put the other leaf on top of it. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm actually going to bring in my silicone mat. The silicone mat is great for when you're gluing things, because you can roll the glue right off of it after you've had a chance to do it. But I want to put a number of dots of glue on here, and I don't really want to get it on my glass mat where I'm working. So I just as soon, if I'm going to get glue on anything, I can get it on my silicone mat. And I use my silicone mat for a lot of different things, so I'll try to remember to pull it out more often because it's a staple in my classroom. I use it all the time. All right, I'm gonna use my tweezers to pull this up, and we're gonna go ahead, and I think I want to layer it right maybe here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take one of my blocks, and I'm just going to put my block on it. While my block is holding that down and giving the glue a chance to set, I am going to get this leaf, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to do little dots on it. Not a lot. You can see the dots. I don't do a lot of glue. I don't need a lot of glue, but I'll go ahead and lift this up, and I'm going to use my tweezers, and I'm going to put this leaf like right here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to set my block on it. Okay. Oops. Oh, you know what I did? Oh my goodness, I did it. I put the block down on it with the stamp side down. I meant to put the other side. Sometimes that's like that happens. It's fine. It's doing just fine. All right, so that's down. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually layer this sleeve, and this sleeve is going to have dimensionals. So I'm going to go ahead and put my dimensionals on here. All right. And let me see, let me just grab a little one. I want a little bit of one on that. And I'm gonna grab another one. I don't know. I hate to go overboard with them, with the dimensionals, but at the same time, I'm just one that I need to make sure I've got everything secure. All right, so let me take this one, and I'm gonna turn it this way, and let me see. Maybe right about here. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and take our sentiment, put a sentiment right over the top. Because I've already got dimension on this, I'm just going to do glue right across the center of this particular card, and I'm just going to let it, kind of be on its own on each side. Let me lift that up to make sure that's straight. It looks straight to me. That makes me happy. And the only other thing we need to do now is add some bling to this card. So let me go ahead and take, let's see, what do I want to do? We'll take a little one and we'll put it right here at the top. And then we'll do a bigger one down here at the bottom. Let's see, down here and maybe right here. Whoops. Okay, there you go. And now we have card number 2 completed. Look how pretty that is. I love these cards. All right, one more, card number 3. Let me bring this in. This is definitely not a traditional color. This is Pebbled Path. Pebbled Path is another one of my favorite colors. So here's what we're gonna do with Pebbled Path. I have my cardstock. Let me move this out of the way. We have our cardstock. Then we have a layer of Pebbled Path, and then we have a layer of basic white, and this basic white was embossed with the Birchwood 3D embossing folder. So pretty. All right, then what we're gonna do is we are going to stamp a leaf on this like we did before and die cut it. So I'm gonna put this off to the side. I've got my leaves already cut out from the Pebbled Path cardstock. And then I've also got a banner. This also comes with the set, but I've already got it cut. So all I'm gonna have to do now is, I just want to show you which one I want. It's this one. So all I have to do now is I have to stamp it. And of course, I'm going to be stamping in Pebbled Path ink. But let me show you. We're going to stamp here in just a second, but I'm going to start to build this card just for a minute before we get there. So I'm going to move all this stuff off to the side. We'll go ahead and we'll get our card base folded. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and get that burnished. So we've got that ready to go. And then what I'm gonna do is, I don't know if you noticed or not, but there's a little circle here. This circle actually comes from using the Circle Sayings punch. It's a 2 3/4/8 inch punch. I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. Which side do I wanna use? Maybe I wanna do this side. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna center it inside here. I'm gonna go down as far as it will let me go. Is that about? Yeah, about, and I'm gonna center it. Okay, and well, actually I'm going to go off to the side a little bit. It looks like that's what I did. So I'm going to go off to this side just a tad. So right here, and then we're going to punch. And I can use this for something else later. But in the meantime, now I have my circle. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere my layer down and the circle will come through the back. So let's go ahead and get that part done. And we'll get this laid down. All right. I'm gonna put glue all around here. I've got peaks and valleys. The glue really helps to adhere your embossed pieces because it goes into those peaks and valleys. And I'm just gonna go ahead and get this centered up like I always do. Squish it around until I get it to where I want it to be. And now we've got this. Now what we can do is we can take this piece and we can adhere it to our card base. And then we'll take a break and go back to stamping. But at least we've got the main part of the card put together. All right, so let's get this done. Okay, and then I'm gonna get this adhered. All right, and let's see, we've got this. All right, very good. All right, so let's go to our stamping. I'm gonna bring this back out. We're gonna stamp with the same leaf that we stamped with before. This time we're gonna stamp it though in the Pebbled Path ink. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we're gonna have to run this through the die cut like we did the last one. I'm gonna actually bring my pad in. I just like stamping on this better, and I'll make sure I've got plenty of coverage. And I think I'm gonna turn it this way. And now that I've got it turned this way, we'll go ahead and we'll get that ready to die cut here in just a second. The other thing that I wanna do is I want to, let me clean this off. I want to stamp my sentiment. So the sentiment goes on this little banner right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and, let me see, I think we're using, what are we using? Oh, we're just using thank you. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. Now what we're gonna do this time, since this banner is gonna be tucked underneath the leaves, I'm gonna just do thank you on this very end. So let me go ahead and we're just gonna do it on the very edge of this banner. There we go. And then what we'll do is the rest of it will get tucked up underneath the leaves that we layer. So let me get this closed up. Before we can start to assemble, we've got to do one more cut. So let me bring out that die again, which is right here. We're gonna go ahead and get this lined up. And I'm gonna use a Post-it note again. We'll get this lined up appropriately with the appropriate spacing around it. And then I'm just going to put it right here. Bring my plates back in. Get this set up on the plate, and then what I'll do is we'll bring the cut and emboss in. All right, so we've got this ready to go. Let me bring the cut and emboss back in, and we'll crank this through. And I should have planned it a little bit better, because the way that the die goes, and you really have to think about it, and I just wasn't thinking about it. But you'll see that when I take this apart, I die cut through other parts of the paper as well. Not a big deal. I got my piece cut the way that I needed to get it cut. And actually, it didn't center quite the way that I wanted it to center. So let me show you how I fixed that. All right, so this is all scrap now. I'm not going to utilize this, but I have a little bit more white. Let me see if you guys notice this. Move this out of the way. I have a little bit more white along the edge that I really like. So I'm going to take my snips and I'm going to try to even this up just a little bit. Wasn't in my plan. It would have been better if I'd have planned just a little bit better when I was centering it, but sometimes it happens. Things move or, whatever. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attempt to cut a little bit of this off so it's just not quite so thick. For some people, maybe it doesn't bother you so much, but it's just a little bit thick for me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work to cut a little bit of that down, and then I'll like it much better. I don't know that anybody else notices, but I noticed. So I'm going to have to go from this end. I can't really see what I'm doing, but I'm going to attempt, because I can't get in that edge. That's why the die is so nice, but we'll give it a shot. And I'm gonna just go around here real quick, trim this off, and I think I've almost got it. I got just a little bit more that I want to do right on this edge right here, and I can get to that. So let me go ahead and get this a little bit more. And I've got one more side right here that I want to do. And like I said, I could have just ignored it. But if you guys have this happen to you, this is how you can fix it. You can just kind of fussy cut around it a little bit. So I thought I would show you, because that's what I would do. Even if I wasn't on camera, that's exactly how I would fix it. All right, so let me kind of get this evened up just a little bit. I think I'm almost there. All right, now look at it. A lot more even all around the edges. You can see the little bits that I cut off. It's not a ton, but it was enough to make me happy. So, okay, let's go ahead and start building our card now. So the first thing I'm gonna do, oh, you know what? See, remember when I was looking before? Let me see how I want to fix this. I think I'm gonna move this over. I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a second, but let me go ahead and continue to build this card. And because I had stopped at the previous card and I'm like, oh no, this is what I have to do on the next card. Well, now I'm on the next card and I forgot to do it. So we're gonna build this card a little bit differently. Hence, remember I said none of the cards that I make tend to look exactly alike. And part of the reason is because I do them differently, not on purpose all the time, but sometimes it just happens. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put this here. Put this down. I'm gonna put this on the top for just a second. And then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take and put glue behind this one. And we're gonna layer this one down as well. So let me go ahead and get my glue down here. All right. Now we've got this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to, let me see, I'm gonna place it probably right about here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this down. And then I have one more, but before I put that one down, I had put down the thank you. So we're gonna put the thank you right about here. And the thank you is gonna go up on dimensionals. It's gonna go up dimensionals on this side. The reason I'm only gonna put dimensionals on this side is because I already have one layer here. My second layer's here. Even though they weren't popped up, they did raise the paper, and I can tell because when I put this down, I have movement here, which means that that needs a dimensional. So I'm just gonna take one dimensional. I'm not gonna get carried away on this. And then I'm gonna bring this back over again. Is that enough? And I think it'll be fine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on the back side of this one. Just a little bit, you can see. I'm not doing a lot. Took the backing off of the dimensional, and then I can adhere this right about here. And I'm gonna go across my circle. So, got that. And then what we can do is we can take this sleeve and we're going to adhere it to this piece. So what I'm seeing is I need two dimensionals. I need a dimensional for this sleeve. Got my tape, my Post-it note stuff sticking to me. I can do a dimensional for this sleeve, and then let me see, do I have enough? And then the rest of it will be glued down. All right, so I'm going to put glue on the back of this sleeve. All right, we're going to take the backs off of these two leaves. Normally I do my take your pick, but since I already have glue on the back of that one, I wanted to just go ahead and get it taken care of. So I'm gonna bring this up, and I've got my two dimensionals here, and I've got my glue here, okay? And remember, I had 2 strands left of my, what do they call it? I call it polka dot trim. It is jute. Couldn't think of the name, jute. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a bow out of my jute. Get it adjusted the way that I want it. There we go. Let's see, like this, all right? And then it is going to go right here. Okay, so let me trim off these ends. I'm going to bring in my ribbon snips here. Trim off the ends, and you got it. I'm going to do the same thing I did last time. I'm going to take a little glue dot. I'm going to roll it up into a ball, and I'm going to put it right here. And then what we can do is we can take our little bow and we'll put it right here. And then the last thing that we're going to do, because we did it with the others, is we're going to bring back some of our, what do I call them, iridescent foil gems. And let's go ahead and put some bling on this card. So let me see, I think I'm gonna go here, and we're gonna do another one right up here. All right, how fun is that? So now we have our third card created. How fun are these? Just so fun. Oh, I was gonna show you. So this one, I put the leaf on my embossed piece before I made the layer, and so my leaves were hanging off, so I trimmed those off, which I love that look. But because I'd already put this layer down, I couldn't really do that. So I just improvised, and I have the entire leaf on here instead of part of the leaf on here. I'm gonna bring the cards back in so you guys can see the cards again and how pretty they all turned out. I love these cards. And like I said, this is for the to-go class. Unfortunately, the bundle Changing Leaves is not available right now. I'm going to try to come and be with you guys. Is not available right now, but it will be available on the week of September 23rd. So if you are interested, you can certainly wait until September 23rd. You can still get the kit. I'll do all the cutting for you except for what is die cut in the bundle or what is stamped in the bundle, but you'll get everything else. If not, if you've got a set of leaves in your library that you love, then you can do this and just use your own leaves in your own library. So you can make it work, that's for sure. let me come back big time for you guys. And I just want to say thank you for joining me tonight. I really appreciate all of you. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is that I am building my business. So if you have been thinking about becoming a demonstrator, if not for any other reason except for just to get the discount, I would love to share more information with you and see if there's any way that I could potentially help you. I'm building my team and I would love to have you on my team if you're not working with anyone. Please do go out to my website at aprildaviscreations.com. There's buttons that you can click, join me or shop now or whatever it is that you need. So please do go out and visit my website. And if there is anything that I can give you information for, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. So thank you again for joining me, and I will see you guys next week. Bye, everyone.